Hey guys, YG Omega here, and today I'll be showing you my Springans deck profile for post-blazing Vortex. So, just a brief summary of what the Springans are. They're a new Xyz deck, and the whole gimmick is that their field spell lets you cheat out the Xyz, summoning them straight out of the extra deck by discarding any Springans card. And then all the Springans monsters can attach themselves from hand, field, or graveyard to said Xyz monsters as a hard once per turn. They're not particularly good, at least until Lightning Overdrive comes out. When Brothers comes out, Merrymaker, and Booty comes out, those are going to help the deck a lot. But it's still cool as it is. So, first up are the Springans monsters. As I said, we do not have Brothers yet. We do not have the full sweep of Springans cards. So for the moment, we are running 3 copies of all of them. So that's 3 copies of Rocky, which adds 1 back from grave to hand, or normal or special. P-Door, which can tribute itself to special summon 1 from graveyard. Branga, who banishes itself and another Spriggan from graveyard to search any Spriggan card. And finally, 3 of Captain Sargus, which gives 500 attack to a Spriggan Xyz it's attached to, and also lets you detach a material from an Xyz you control to destroy a card your opponent controls. Now, it is worth pointing out that Branga and P-Door here both have 500 or less attack, meaning they are both machine dupe targets, and that is quite important, as I will show you later. Next up, of course, because this is a highly field spell centric deck, we are playing 3 copies of Planet Pathfinder. You don't usually see this card played in field spell decks, but Spriggans don't necessarily really need their normal summon. It's always nice to be able to use it on a Rocky, but it's not at all necessary. So just the ability to get to the field spell ASAP. Next up we have the hand traps, very standard sweep of 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Effect Veiler, 3 Psy Frame Gear Gamma, and of course the 1 driver. Nothing really to say here, it's just hand traps. Next up, of course, we have the main focal point, the most important card in the deck, Great Sandsea Gold Golgonda. Bit of a mouthful. As I said earlier, this lets you cheat them out of the extra deck. It gives all of them, all Spriggans Xyz, plus 1000 attack, which is actually really relevant because their attack points are really, really low by default. You want to see this, well, constantly, always. You basically can't play without it. Next up, we have one of the most ridiculous cards ever printed for an archetype. Okay, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but still. Springans Watch. If you don't have Gold Golgonda in your field spell zone, you get to add it from deck to hand. And if you do, you get to add a Spriggans from deck to hand and send 1 from deck to graveyard. So it's Reinforcement of the Army, Foolish Burial, and Terraforming, all in 1 card. So yeah, pretty nuts. Now, one problem the deck has is, of course, even though you do have so many ways to get the field spell, it is a hard once per turn. So if it gets negated or destroyed, you are screwed. So that's why it's a bit bricky, but it's essentially mandatory to play 3 copies of Machine Duplication, just because you can, like, hard make some Xyz. Also, there's a very good play with Branga and Coach King Giant Trainer, which I don't actually have on me right now. By getting 3 Brangas on field, 3 level 8s, you make, if you don't know what Coach Giant Trainer does, you can up to thrice per turn detach a material to draw a card, and if it's a monster, inflict 800 damage to your opponent. So if you can get this and Branga on field, that is literally just draw 3. Or it could also be like Hope Harbinger or any other level 8, I guess. Next up, for the 1 of spells, we have 1 Monster Reborn, 1 Foolish Burial to get more Springans in the grave, one Called by the Grave just to stop those hand traps, and what would you know? One copy of Terraforming in a field spell deck. What a surprise. Next up, then finally for the deck, we have the Springans traps. We're just playing one of each. Springans Call is a back to the front, and Springans Blast is pretty cool. You choose an opponent's main monster zone, and if a monster is already face up in that zone, it cannot attack directly, and its effects are negated this turn. This is of course pretty good because it doesn't target a monster, it chooses a zone and then applies the effect to anything in that zone. So it can get around targeting immunity, which is pretty cool. They do also both have secondary effects, but they're not really that relevant. They do have a fusion monster, which with the Fallen of Albaz, but it's not, you're not playing Fallen of Albaz in the deck to get to sprint. Now, for the extra deck, I'm not going to lie, you can play pretty much whatever you like here. Of course, you're going to have 3 copies of Springan Ship Explorer, which is like the worst. It was already Explorer. Why did they translate it as Explorer? Weirdest thing. But this is a really cool card. You can detach materials to choose an opponent's zone and then destroy cards in that zone adjacent to it, above and below it, equal to the number of materials you detached. So and once again, just like Springans Blast, this is also circumvents targeting as you're choosing zones, not targeting monsters. Also, it's worth to note that, of course, the main weakness of this card, obviously, is that if cards aren't close together, you can't destroy all of them. And that's where the secondary effect of, where is he? Captain Sargus comes in, because, of course, he can detach a material to pop an opponent's card. So if they're not close together, you can always pop one with Explorer and then pop the other with Sargas. That's the idea there. Now, we don't have Merrymaker yet, which is sort of the only thing that does any even vaguely good turn 1 plays, I guess. So you can really, and even then, if you're playing 3 copies of each, that's still only 6 cards. So for the extra deck, you know what? Go wild, have some fun, throw in whatever crazy rank 4, 8-4, links, whatever you want. I just have I'm just going to show you what I've got so far, because I haven't got everything yet. I haven't got the Giant Trainer or Gear Gigantex, or Sprint for that matter, even though you won't be playing that until we get Merrymaker in Lightning Overdrive. So I'm playing 1 copy of Tornado Dragon, pop spells and traps, self-explanatory. Number 101, Silent Honor Arc, because I was just going through my tins and just thought, yeah, screw it, why not, rank 4 deck. Silent Honor Arc, no one will be expecting it. Dreadnought, Dreadnoid, and Rail Cannon Superdora to summon off of it. Once again, if you wanted to play this deck as competitively as you could, you probably would not be playing these cards. But as I said, yeah, just I don't have all the stuff right now, and you don't really need most of your extra deck space. You could probably play like Pot of Prosperity, Pot of Extravagance even, possibly, in this deck if you wanted to. Because the extra deck, apart from, of course, the 3 Explorer and the 3 Merrymaker when we get it, is quite important. And then, I don't have, as I said, I don't have Giant Trainer, so meanwhile, number 87, Queen of the Night. It's not good. And then for the links, 1 copy of Cleathort Genius. This is not for fun, this probably will be staying to the final version. Just something, I guess, if the situation comes up where you need a link. Who knows? 1 copy of Nightmare Cerberus. There would also be a copy of Phoenix here, but I have decided not to include it because I couldn't find my copy. And then, finally, 1 copy of Steel Star Regulator. And I know what you're thinking, I've no idea what this card does. What is it? And that's because it's just like bulk common from Blazing Vortex. I'm not even going to explain what it does. It's Once again, I don't have all the extra deck cards yet, so I've just got that as a place filler, as kind of a joke. Although, to be honest, it does work with Xyz monsters, so you could play in the final version of the deck if you really wanted to, just for a bit of fun. Anyway, so that is it. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more cool deck profiles and other Yu-Gi-Oh! Related stuff. Possibly some Digimon TCG related stuff now that that's coming out. And comment about what you may want to see on the channel in the future. Alright, see you guys.